McKein Mull, man, I've been trying to track you down since the latest release of your audio drama that you put together. It's been tough, man.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people that have said they were gonna reach out and interview me, and it's either haven't had the time or it falls through the cracks. And so I was
Yeah,
happy to finally be able to make this happen.
yeah, busy, busy. I get it. I get it. Well, I'm excited to talk about the audio drama. I know I've had a chance to listen to it in its entirety. Loved it all the way through. But I want to keep the focus of the conversation on you initially, and then we'll move into some of the questions I have about the audio drama because it kind of leaves you hanging, right? So there's
Yep.
so many questions that I have. But tell us a little bit about your background as a writer, director, and just about yourself.
Well, I mean, I've been writing since I was a kid. For as long as I can remember, I'd always write these stories. I used to have this like little blue journal. I'd write out these ideas for stories, all that stuff, and then eventually it just led to something more where I finally wrote Autumn Falls as an official script when I was 17, 18, something like that, and then I uh kind of stuck on that path and continued doing drafts on that for multiple times until it finally got to the point where I thought it was good enough. Um, and then since then, I've been writing multiple scripts, usually in the genre of like horror or thriller, stuff like that.
Sure.
Um, as far as a director, this is actually my first directing debut of anything so far. So
Wow.
this has been kind of exciting as a someone going to college for filmmaking. This is kind of like my big foot in the door kind of thing.
And how old are you now?
I just turned 27 in February.
Oh, wow. So this has been a 10-year project.
It has, yeah.
Okay, very cool. And how did that all come together with like did you present the script to friends? Like how did you guys kind of put together this collaboration? Because I noticed that you have some key roles like a narrator and other influences in the credits. How did that all come about? Are these like fellow students or just people that you've met along the way that wanted to be a part of this project?
So the way it all kind of came to fruition as far as meeting these wonderful people that have helped me make it was there is a YouTuber we all used to watch. His name was Thor Skywalker. He used to talk about all stuff Star Wars. He said he was going to make this animated show, kind of redo the sequel trilogy, and he started doing casting calls. And so I was one of the people that went into the Discord and was auditioning for roles, got to like stage two or something like that. And then a couple of us that didn't quite get roles, uh, all decided to come up with our own show, which also never came to fruition. But eventually, one of my better friends who I met in that journey, his name is Matt Rook, which a big shout out to him. I couldn't have done any of this without him. uh he and another friend, Mark, put together this production company where they make audio dramas. And after about a year of them doing their stuff, I pitched it to them, and they were finally like, "Yeah, we'd love to do it." And everything just kind of fell into place after that. There were a few hiccups along the way, a few friends that backed out and stuff like that, but luckily, it's turned out for the best, in my opinion.
Nice, man. So let's talk about kind of the inspiration behind Autumn Falls because I mean, we got to dig deep, right? We're going back 10 years. Is there an experience that you can account that led to the inspiration behind this story, or
There
was it
act
just putting pen to pad?
there actually was a it sounds embarrassing saying it out loud, but it was actually a video game that inspired me to write Autumn Falls. It was a game called Allan Wake, and they just made the sequel, I think, late last year to it. And the original was such a had such a big impact on me that a matter of fact, if you play the game, then listen to the first episode of Autumn Falls, you can see a lot of the similarities between the two. And so
Sure.
I think that's probably where my biggest inspiration came from, was from that video game, Alan Wake.
Well, yeah, that's interesting that you say that because as I was listening to it, it felt like I was experiencing like a cutscene or something like that in kind of a dark video game. But
Yeah.
very cool. I mean, because it kind of has this like ominous and there's different moods throughout, right? Like when he goes back to Autumn Falls, right? And it's like totally different. So beautiful and it's really interesting how it goes from this like dreary to uh almost like you're there and you're kind of thinking about like a charming little town that you've been to before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it kind of goes back to the anyway. So let's talk about Mark in the beginning of the story. Did Mark kill his wife? Or can you not tell me that piece?
I think I could tell I think I can tell you that it he definitely did kill his wife. There hopefully, and if this first 3 episodes do good, we have a plan for 2 other seasons that are also 3 episodes long. Um, and it's later you'll find out that that night a lot more happened than just Mark killing his wife. But yes, Mark did actually kill his wife and think that he had this delusion that someone else was the one that killed Kyle's mom.
Okay. So you do plan to revisit that later
Yeah.
in the story. Okay.
Yep, I have three following stories that if this does good, I would love to continue the story in Autumn Falls.
Okay. Nice. And then Vanessa, Kyle's wife, she seems pretty sweet, right? She has a lot of like I feel like her character is important to the story. Talk to me a little bit about her character. Now, is she actually hot in real life? Because that's kind of the impression that I get.
Is she actually hot in real life? Well,
Well, it's interesting because when you listen, you're kind of like, you're putting faces to the characters, and I'm like, oh, Vanessa,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
but no, talk to me about her character and why you decided to include her in in the story, and why do you feel like her role is so important to the story?
So originally in my first drafts, Vanessa was kind of just the catalyst for the events that happened later on. But when I met the actress that plays her, Jem, who is a phenomenal actress, uh, I fell in love with her. She's a wonderful person and she does amazing as a character. So I ended up writing multiple more scenes throughout the next 2 episodes that are coming out because I love her as Vanessa and her I not only was she kind of driving point of me making Vanessa a lot more integral to the story, but then when I started writing uh for Gem, then it started all these plot lines that come into play later started making sense to me if I make Vanessa a little bit more important in the earlier episodes.
Okay, interesting. Now, I know earlier we kind of mentioned the backdrop of like Autumn Falls, and like was that intentional? Kind of the different ways that it could be viewed. You know what I mean? Because like it feels really like dark at one point, and then at other times it's almost like the lights come on and it's like, oh, this is such a beautiful, charming place. Was that intentional, or what did you just feel like that was just like a natural thing that occurred in the story?
That no, that was actually very intentional. I wanted the viewers or the listeners to get the feeling that the second, like outside the borders of Autumn Falls, very lovely, very beautiful Oregon, Washington area, lush green place. But then when you cross into Autumn Falls, this very dour, kind of dark feeling settles into the town. And
Hmm.
so that was very much my intention when writing the script, and I very much wanted Autumn Falls to be kind of the third main character in the story. I wanted it to be very uh present throughout the show.
Okay, nice. And then one of the things that kind of threw me in the story was the three women in black hoods. Like it felt like a subtle, there was like a subtle mention of it, but like I was left like kind of confused, like, well, who are these women and why were they mentioned if they weren't going to be talked about, right? And so it was just like one of those pieces that kind of stuck in the back of my head, and I was like, well, who are these three women? You know, can you speak to that without blowing the next episode,
I
or is that
I actually can give you a little bit about that. So I'm so happy that that stood out to you, that that wasn't just like one of those, that didn't come across as just one of those throwaway scary scenes. Because yeah, no, those three cloaked women are going to be very integral to not only the future of what's going to happen in On Falls, but they are very integral to the past of what's happened in On Falls, including Mark, and even further back than that.
okay?
That's about the most I could give you for right now. But come episode 2, you guys will get a little more.
And how many episodes do you think this will be when all is said and done? And I know there's a lot of ifs behind that, but let's just say, like, if you continued the course with Autumn Falls, what would you anticipate in terms of episodes? Like, is this going to be like a full 8 season thing, or um,
So I originally wrote it to be more like a 3 season thing, all consisting of 3 episodes. But there was one more story ended up coming to mind. So the max it would ever go would be 4 seasons of 3 episodes. So about 12 episodes long, and
okay,
don't really intend on going much further than that. That's kind of I like setting up to like the first act, second act, third act structure kind of thing, maybe giving it an origin behind how it all started, but never going beyond that. So yeah, the most fans can expect is about 4 seasons consisting of 3 episodes each.
looking forward to it, man. That's great. So a couple more things before I let you go, because I know you got stuff going on. But talk to me about, so there's I actually have a few more things. So there's the old woman, right? And she's super spooky, um, really odd with Vanessa and Kyle. Um, I'd like to know more about her character, and then also Tristan, Kyle's childhood friend. So if you could kind of like give me a little perspective on the old lady first. Let's talk about her because
Okay.
she's super creepy. Um, where does that come from? Like, you know what I mean? Kind of this like ominous, like warning, and she seems so charming at first, and then it's like, grr, and she's warning Vanessa.
Yeah, she just kind of
Basically,
flips
to
on a
her
dime
face.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diana is gonna be very important, especially in this next episode coming out.
That's the
She
old lady, Diana. I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
Diana, yeah, that's the old lady. And she I can't give too much away about why she is so creepy and why she is warning Vanessa against Kyle, but I can tell you that you guys have been given kind of the breadcrumbs of who she is, but just hasn't come out and say it yet.
Okay. So she could be a hero, but appears to be a bit of a villain. If you're on Kyle's side, which I feel like you did a good job of making Kyle's character extremely lovable, and you almost have this like sympathy or empathy for him, you know what I mean, because of what he's been through and the tragedy that he's gone through. So you're almost like rooting for Kyle. and anybody against Kyle, you're kind of like, yeah, I don't know this
Yeah.
ultimately. But Tristan, on the other hand, does seem supportive and like a strong supporting role, even though um, his character was, very brief. There was uh, there was definitely the feeling that he is going to be like a positive thing. And he's a deputy or a sheriff deputy or
Yeah, he is Lockwood's deputy, is his main deputy. Um, yeah, I wanted Tristan to be the very kind of family man, very go happy, good, average, kind of Captain America, almost Boy Scout like guy. Uh, and I think a lot of that of his character comes from being raised in a good family, and then he's a good influence on Kyle. So I thought he was a good kind of balance to Kyle, and that's kind of how I wanted his character to be, and I think it, for the most part, works pretty good, at least in this first episode, for Kyle to see Tristan again.
and outside of profession, is there any connection between Tristan and Lockwood? Like, is that like a father son kind of dynamic, or do they just work together?
It has kind of become like a father son dynamic. Uh, Tristan's parents died when he was quite young, so when he grew up and became and joined the sheriff's department, he really looked up to Lockwood and kind
So
of
Kyle and
looked
Tristan
up to him.
actually have that in common. Then they both lost their parents.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They both had that in common, and some reason Tristan just locked on or looked up to Lockwood as a mentor, and Lockwood took him under his wings, and so yeah, now I think they're very much kind of a father-son relationship, and at times you'll see they're a little more bantery, kind of like brothers, but they are very much kind of a mentor-apprentice kind of relationship.
Interesting. And Lockwood, is he a villain?
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no. Yeah, everyone will come to love Lockwood here pretty soon.
Okay. Very cool. Well, what themes did you want to explore through Autumn Falls? I mean, how did you weave these themes into a story? And can you discuss the importance of confronting one's past as recommended by Kyle's therapist in the context of the narrative?
So as far as the trying to think of the right word, as far as like the things I kind of wanted to tackle with this story were mental illness and facing someone's dark past. And the voices kind of, in a more metaphorical way, represent that dark side of our brains that is always telling us, do this wrong thing or, oh, you're not good enough, that kind of thing to it. So I wanted to add that aspect, and I also wanted to show that even if there is great evil in the world, there is even if it's someone who has, let's say, all these demons on their back, they can always rise out of it if they have their loved ones around them. And that was a theme I very much wanted to explore. And what was the second half of your question? I'm sorry.
Can you discuss the importance of confronting one's past as recommended by Kyle's therapist in the context of the narrative?
So, like in context of Kyle confronting his past and why that's
Yeah.
important.
Mhm.
Um, I think it was important for him, even if all the things hadn't gone wrong, or even if things how they did go, I think are beneficial for Kyle. It's something he has to face. He hasn't been back to that cabin since he lost his parents, and it's something he definitely needed to go through, and it's going to make a big change in his life and his wife's life as well. That's for sure.
And you think that's also important, just like in general, for people to confront their past? And
Yes, to a degree, so long as they're not dwelling on it. But if there's something that they are dwelling on or something that they are unable to let go of, yeah, I think it's important to at least face it especially if you have a trauma or an issue with a long past enemy that's never been settled. I think it's always good to go back and face that and try and settle it as best you can. If it doesn't, at least you can say you tried and you get to walk away being a much happier, more fulfilled person.
Yeah, get to kind of clear the air or clean your side of the street, right?
Exactly.
Nice. So let's talk about, let's see, I'm looking at some of my notes here. Um, so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was like the audience that has experienced this so far. Like I've seen it. I'm sure many of your friends, family members, students, teachers. What has been like the general like input from some of your mentors, like your teachers, because you are in university, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm at the Los Angeles Film School, and I would say most of their input has been positive. Even the ones that give me criticism, it's always constructive criticism. And it's really helped refine my writing when it comes to Autumn Falls. And overall, to the people I've shown, whether it be friends, family, mentors, teachers, colleagues, that have helped me work on this project, it's been overwhelmingly positive. Even the actors, a lot of times when they read the script, would message us and go, "My God, this is really good." And so that's been a really heartwarming thing, considering how long it's been getting written for. That it's nice to get that positive feedback, and it's been overwhelmingly good.
Talk to me about some of the challenges that you went through in like the directing aspect of putting this together.
One of the toughest uh aspects of directing through Discord is that you are not there to I've been on film sets where I've directed someone for an indie film and stuff like that. You have a much more kind of easier time communicating, getting the round table read, all that stuff done is done a lot easier when you are filming an actual shoot. Um when you do it through Discord, it's much more of a hurdle to try and get all the actors on the same page because they all send in their lines. They all go record them on their own, send them in, and we have to sift through which ones we like, which ones we don't like. Maybe sometimes have them redo it. And with all the lines going to a Google Drive, usually Rook, who's our editor, will usually get to them before I have a chance to. I've been too busy to do it, especially this next episode. So that is what I would say would be probably the biggest challenge is doing it through a Discord format.
Okay. Yeah. I would imagine there's a little bit of a disconnect there, just because things can be misinterpreted.
Yeah, and
Not like being in like the same place at the same time with somebody and picking up all the vibes and notes of sarcasm or whatever it may be. I mean, you miss some
yeah,
of that stuff in translation, right?
yeah, exactly.
But you did it. You managed it, and it came together beautifully. And I know we're we're going to be up on time here pretty soon, but I wanted to ask you if there's any current projects in the works or things that you're wanting to plug, that's kind of on the horizon for you.
Well, Autumn Falls episode 2 will be dropping here pretty soon. We are in the post-production phase where we are just putting all the audio, the sound effects, and the music together. So you guys can probably expect that here pretty soon. And after that, we might be looking at a season 2 of Autumn Falls, if it all goes well.
All right. I'm excited, man. Definitely keep me in the loop on this stuff. And
Absolutely.
let's try to reconnect again soon to visit this next episode. And I'm excited for the release. Is there a date that you have in mind?
For episode 2, not yet. I'm guessing it will probably release probably late next month.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're gonna be cut short, but I'm gonna get with you after this and just do kind of a quick chit chat.
Alrighty.
Okay,
Yeah, that
McKein.
sounds great.
All right, man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you for the interview. I really do appreciate it. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while now, so thank you.
My pleasure, brother. Yeah, thank you for sharing the story. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And before we do end this, I just do want to say thank you to my wonderful cast and crew. They have all been amazing, gone above and beyond. Uh, I wish I could say it was all me, but it not even a tenth of it was me. They have all done phenomenal, and I was lucky to get the crew and friends that I have working on the project that I do. So I want to say
Hats
thank you
off
to
to
all of you
them.
guys.
Hats off to them. Hats off to you, McKeon. Nice work bringing it all together, and I'm sure you were a key element in bringing this forward and bringing this all together. And hats off to you, and I wish you all the success and hope that the audience takes to this great story. And look, it's been a 10-year project. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
give it a shot, you guys. Give it a listen, and let us know what you think about the story. But I'm invested, and I'm excited to see the next episode for sure.
Awesome. I can't wait for everyone to hear it.
Okay. All right.
All
See you,
right.
McKeon.
See ya, Chris. You have a good one.